I tell authors all the time, when you're online, obviously everybody has an opinion on religion and politics and different things, but keep those separate from your author persona. You're a brand.
This podcast encourages and empowers you to create your own unique real story, develop your own unique real statement, and discover your own unique real self. The power is yours. Good morning, Armand Rosamilia. Previously, episode 1190 of the 12-Minute Convos podcast. It's been just 2 years, 2 months, 14 hours, and 30 minutes, plus or minus 5 minutes since we last recorded that conversation. That was then. This is now. Armand, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm doing really good. I've been following along with you, and it's quite the journey you're taking.
I appreciate that. When we last spoke, oh my, your journey. You are an author, and of course, the family is coming up. You spoke about your daughter as well. She started at the age of 11. You got your book out when you were 18. How are things evolving? What's going on? Update us, please.
My daughter's in college now, which is insane. She's my youngest, and she just went to college. So wow. I turned 50 this year.
Congratulations!
I think. And last year was a great year for writing for me. I did over 400,000 words, but it was a slow release year. I think I released, with anthologies, novels, and novellas, I released 15 things in 2019.
400,000 words. I remember you breaking that up in terms of expressing, hey, it's one thing to say 400,000 words, but you can snip it up into, so how much is that a day?
1,096 words is the average I need. So when you look at it that way, it's easy to go, okay, I can do that pretty simple.
Well, for some of us, probably not. But yes, I understand how you've now done that. So your wife is someone that was in the background as well. You spoke about how she helps with the financial aspect of things, right? How have things evolved with her?
Great. So she's a commercial property manager. She's actually in Atlanta today on business. So she has properties here in Jacksonville and then in Atlanta and then also in Rhode Island now. Her company's given her even more property. So she travels, which is great because then a lot of times I'll go with her and I get to sit in a hotel room and I'll write all day.
Wow. How amazing is that? Now, the podcast network, what's going on with that?
We are still chugging along. We have 15 different podcasts on Project Entertainment Network. Wow. And this year we're doing really well. And hopefully we'll just continue to be grouped together. It's a lot of fun having so many other different podcasts as part of the group to, cross promote and just help one another out. That's kind of the goal.
When you look back from the time we spoke, or even just starting the podcast network, even starting the podcast, even writing, how does it make you feel to see what you've accomplished, Armand?
I am truly living the dream. I mean, I'm blessed. And I say that all the time. At 12 years old, reading Dean Koontz books, that was really my kick. And saying, you know what, I want to do this for a living. I always said, I want to be a writer when I grow up. And I should have said I want to be a rich and famous writer, but we'll start with writer. And it's taken me a long time to get there. This will be my 8th year of being a full-time author.
There's a voice, and I believe writers are able to discern it even more than anyone else because of the time you spend on your craft, most of the times alone. How do you define the voice that's necessary to listen to in 2 scenarios? One, with your life purpose, and secondly, when you're creating characters, which is what or which is who?
It's something that you don't really think about as a writer. So even when I'm not writing, and I'm using air quotes, I'm always writing. So anytime we're out, we go to Walmart, we go anywhere, we go to dinner, I'm always looking at characters. I'm always looking at, does the waiter do something odd? Or is a woman in line having a conversation? And I'm always doing that. My wife loves that because she's also a people watcher. So we watch everybody. And I make up stories on the spot about these people's secret lives and things. And a lot of times those will carry on. And that might be weeks or months later. It might carry on and into a story. My wife laughs because she'll say to me, "What'd you make for lunch?" And I'll say, "I don't even remember." But then I can remember a conversation from a month ago that somebody had while we were standing in line somewhere. And she always says the important stuff to you is always the writing. And so it's constantly on. I'm constantly working stuff. I'm constantly having conversations, and I love having conversations with people. I'm introverted. I love staying at home. So my wife drags me out of the house, which I'm grateful for, because then I get to see real people and steal their conversations.
There's life out there. Wow.
Yeah.
Now, there are other children in the midst, right? We spoke about your daughter who is going to college, but there's also another daughter who is very much of an adult now, right? When we spoke, you said 19 and your son is 20. How have they been impacted by everything that you have been doing?
Well, my son is 24 now. He's on his own. He's living about an hour away, working a job, living with his girlfriend. And we see him all the time, and he's very big into anime, which I am not, and he's very big into tattoos, which I have no tattoos. So he keeps coming to the house and showing mom and dad his brand new Naruto or Dragon Ball Z or Pokemon tattoos, which drives me absolutely nuts. And then my daughter is 23, and she's out in Texas with her mom, and she's doing great, and we talk all the time. And in fact, this weekend, my daughter's school, she goes to school in Gainesville, they're having a book festival, and I'm one of the guest authors. Sweet. And they invited me, and I didn't even realize it was actually at her college, which is cool. So I said, good, bring all your loser friends and tell them to bring some money and buy some books from me.
The power of contentment. There's a sound in the voice of someone that has seeked out contentment. And of course, it's something that it has to be intentional. I mean, even in America, specifically in America, there's so many voices. There's so many things that are being advertised from our experience being over there. How are you, my friend, ensuring that the boundaries, the fences are up to ensure that you remain contented?
You know, you have to be aware that even at this level, you know, you're a public figure. I tell authors all the time, when you're online, when you're on Facebook, when you're on Twitter, whatever, you know, obviously everybody has an opinion on religion and politics and different things, but keep those separate. Keep those separate from your author persona. You're a brand. You're a brand like Coca-Cola. You're a brand like AT&T or Facebook or anything else. And you have to be aware that if you make a political statement, for instance, half the people are going to love it and half the people are going to hate it. And you have immediately divided your readers in half. Mm-hmm. And so I really am well aware, stepping onto social media or even stepping physically out of the house, that there is a difference. I almost, my wife calls it, so the thing growing up is, because my real name is actually Armando. So growing up, everybody would call me Mando. Mm-hmm. So she says, when I'm at a book signing, when I'm at a convention, I am Mando. I am this larger than life, this big guy who laughs and pulls people over and jokes with them and talks and everything else. And then I get in the car and I'm back to Armand and I'm exhausted and it's not natural for me. Mm-hmm. And when I turn that on, you have to be cognizant of what you're saying, what you're doing, and all that stuff. And it's a brand. I mean, that's the bottom line. We all have our own brand nowadays.
Responsibility, right? It sounds like the Spider-Man thing, right? Like, with great power comes great responsibility. But that is what it is. Especially if it's something that's connected to your bread and butter, right? Like, right. You have to be mindful of this. I totally agree with you. I love how you've and your wife has broken up into steps as well, the process of what an introvert goes through. And we've seen that on the podcast where, introverts, you can go out, but there needs to be a space where you return to safety. And that empowers them. And I love how you did that, where Armand, I love the characterization. Well, of course, you're the writer, right? So that fits, right? But Armand, and then Mando, right? I love that. So thanks for sharing that. Now, there is that conversation that we've been turning to, which is the possibility of death. You've done characters. You've done writing. You know the possibility exists that today or tomorrow you could die. How do you interact with that? Is it in the forefront or the back end of your mind?
I think it's definitely in the forefront with me. Like I said, I just turned 50. I am what is considered obese. I've gained a lot of weight sitting behind this desk and not moving around. Although in the last 3 weeks or so, I completely changed my diet. I went onto a plant-based diet and lost over 20 pounds so far.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah,
wow.
I started going to the gym. Me and my wife are both overweight, so we started to go to the gym and all that. Neil Gaiman has a great, if you go on his website somewhere, he has a great easy form to fill out for authors or people who basically are brands or own IP, And basically what it is more or less for, if I pass away tomorrow, who controls my estate, my writing? And it was a sobering thing to have to fill out, but it was something that I worry about. I worry about having a heart attack or having a stroke or whatever, because I am out of shape, because I don't do the things that I need to do. I'm trying to do it now. And I have kids that I need to take care of. I have a legacy that I need to do. Not all people can, when they pass away, they die. They have friends, they have family, they have memories. I actually have property that will live on. My books will live on. My books will continue to sell, hopefully, for years and years to come. And I want to make sure that my wife and my kids are able to still benefit from that, no matter what happens.
Well, my friend, it is such of a grand opportunity to call in, of course, to have the access to have this conversation and to also know that you've not given up. And of course, for you to share with us the human side of Armand in terms of what your struggles are, but more so how you are attacking that. It is inspirational and motivational, truly. You've not given up. So I appreciate that. I appreciate your service to humanity. Armand, in closing, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
I just want to thank you for having me back on, and I hope in the future, a year or 2 years, whatever it will take, I'd love to come back on and chat with you. I really enjoy the 12 minutes with you.
Yeah. The 185-pounder of you. I look forward to that conversation. Armand Rosamilia. Armand, let me see if I could get into the Spanish thing. Armando Rosamilio.
It's Italian. It means 1,000 roses.
Oh, there we go.
In Italian. I used to use that as a pickup line in the bar. It never worked.
Armando, again, a pleasure. I treasure. I really do. Thank you for being on What Is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. This podcast is produced by Pod Edits. Visit podedits.com for professional podcast publishing.